All right. Hello, 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 everyone. Um, it is great to have you here at the Student Research and Innovation Showcase hosted by the Leadership and Innovation Lab. I'm Avi. I am an instructor at the Lil Lab, and I am very excited to come in on the second day and get us acquainted with some more of our scholars. So my background is in law. You heard from Maya if you were here yesterday. Today you'll be hearing from me. On the first day, everyone got to hear a great speech by one of the former admissions officers in our network, Kevin DuPont, and got to hear about student research on tariffs, navigating narratives, depression, cart therapy, and fashion business. So that was exciting, and you'll be able to see those recordings. Today, we are going to jump right in with hearing about student projects. And then towards the end of our time together, after we've heard of those student projects, I will go through some other interesting stuff that's been going on in Lil that might be of interest, something that you may want to join if you're a student, or that you may want to brag about. For instance, if you were a winner of our IdeAction global pitch competition. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and pass it over to Andrew.
Cool. Good morning, everyone. Just give me a second to share my screen. Great. All right. So my project was the U.S. Immigration Playbook. For some context, my name's Andrew. I'm currently a senior at North Carolina. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. Okay. So quick overview of the project. My goal for this project was to create an immigration, almost a playbook that explains how to navigate the US immigration system. As we all might have heard, there are a lot of changes going on right now in the world. And so I just felt that it was important for, um, someone to almost compile all this information together to make sure that it's accessible and it's, accurate given the amount of fake news that goes on recently. And so that led me to create my immigration playbook. And that's also spiraled into a few other projects related to immigration that I've been involved in my community. Okay, so the goals and the problems for this project. For me, the biggest problem was not having enough resources out there that explained what was actually going on. Um, I created this book probably around later time of last year, so end of 2024 like to mid 2025. And so during that time there was a lot of changes going on with immigration, and I was seeing these changes happening in real time. I was able to get an internship at a local immigration law firm. They were really nice to me, and I was able to help them work on a lot of these cases. And so, as these changes were coming through, I noticed that like a lot of the clients that I saw had no clue what was going on, and I just felt like there was a lack of information and a lack of a place to get that information. And so my goal for this project was to spread awareness about immigration, but for this book specifically, to create a place where others can access that information about how to navigate that complex immigration process. Okay, so platform in action. So obviously, there's the ebook that was around, I think, 85 pages, and the goal of it was to basically guide the reader through how they could achieve legal status in the U.S. There are multiple different ways to do it. They could do it through asylum, H-1B, all those processes. Um, and so after completing the book, I realized that, just having this book out there wasn't enough. And so I took some more action in my community beyond just creating this book. Um, I collaborated with the people at my internship, and we thought it was a really good idea to spread awareness to people in my community, specifically through speaker events like this one. And so I spent a lot of time talking to younger kids about like what's happening in our country right now and like what the problem is, just to make sure that they know what's going on and sort of call them to action so that the next generation of high schoolers are aware of, what's going on in the world and encourage them to basically stay informed. Um, yeah. In terms of creating the book, I was fortunate to where a lot of the information that I had came through my internship. And so it wasn't a very complex process for me. I kind of just put what I had experienced onto paper. And I was so lucky to have some help with Ingenious where they were able to put that together for me. Okay, so my journey. Obviously, it wasn't super straightforward. I think one of the biggest challenges that I faced was definitely that as I was creating this book, changes were still happening. And so um as I was making this book, I remember like Trump had signed a ton of executive orders that are about immigration, and I had to go in and like change a lot of the information and update my book to make sure that it was accurate. But I think that overall, like this process was fun for me. What really inspired me to get involved was like my parents' background. So they immigrated to the US and I was sort of inspired by their story. And they told me that like the thing that they wish they had was someone to sort of compile this information for them. And so uh I did that. Of course, I am still in high school, so I don't have a legal background. But through my internship, I was able to gain that experience. And the best part about this was that it was totally free. I didn't spend a single dollar on this process. I got the internship for free. I did all of the projects for free, and so I'm super thankful that I was able to spread this sort of awareness to my community at no cost for me, and really ensure that like the future generation is um, prepared to tackle these same problems. So growth and impact. Obviously, I had a lot of conversations with members in my community, ranging from like the North Carolina senators all the way to like just like local people in my community, whether that be like teachers or students. And for me, like the most important thing was spreading knowledge and ensuring that everyone knows that this is a complex process. People are going through it and they need help. Um, I gave the book to the law firm that I had my internship at to make sure that they had that resource as well. They could give it to their clients. And they made sure that all the information there was accurate. And yeah, I think impact wise, this was definitely started very local in my community. And I'm happy that it grew into almost like a national project. It was a little hard to go international just because it was about US immigration, but I think just spreading that awareness was the most impactful for me. Yeah, so some obstacles and solutions. Obviously, I talked about how it's always changing. A few other ones I ran into was that like the legal process for immigration is really complex. And so one of the most difficult things I had was that I had to almost translate this really complex language into something that the average person could understand. That way it's to increase the accessibility. Second, obviously keeping up with the policy changes and ensuring that the information is accurate. But I think the last one here, building trust and credibility, was pretty difficult for me. I think at the time I was probably like a junior in high school, and so like a lot of people were like, oh, like why should we trust this junior in high school? But after like getting to know me, I think they realized that like, oh, like yeah, this person, they have that experience in the field. And also like they don't have any like malicious intent, right? Like I was there just to spread awareness in my community about it and provide these resources so that people were aware of what was going on. And then yeah, those solutions, uh, pretty much what I did. I partnered with the people at my internship to ensure the accuracy. I, the chapters in the book are constantly changing, even today. And yeah, I just emphasize that, you know, I'm not here to make money. Like I'm here to spread awareness. So future growth, looking forward, I think the biggest thing I want to do is increase the audience size of the speaker events that I've done. So our school has an upper school, like a high school and a middle school. I've gone to speak with a lot of middle school students, and I'd like to have something where I speak to the entire middle school body. Um, I think also like one thing is that I really want to look into translations for this book. I know that accessibility is probably a really big issue. So the book is free, but it's in English. And so I want to look into translate the book into other languages to make sure that, since they are immigrants that are going to be accessing this book, that that book is available in the language that they know. Um, and I'm really just hoping that my community is able to get involved through this project and get really passionate about helping immigrants, and being aware of immigrants in our community. And lastly, just some key statistics and impacts. I'm going to nerd out a little bit on immigration. And so, around like 12 million people live without legal status in the US. We hear a lot of stories on the news where it's like big, like CNN headlines where it's like, oh, immigrants this, immigrants that. But I think what really matters is that, immigrants in your local community, right? These are stories that aren't on the headlines of the news, but they still impact your community the most. Um, just for me, the most valuable thing I took away from this was that understanding that everybody in your community can work together to create a better community. And that was something that I wrote about in my college application as well, which is like, understanding that, yes, there are nationwide stories that you hear, but then there are also local stories that not all of us are able to hear, but those are the ones that usually impact our community most. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening.
That was excellent, Andrew. Really, really wonderful. If I can ask you for one more thing before you either kick back and listen or head off to enjoy the rest of your day, do you have any advice that you can impart on to other little students, whether it be starting law projects or community projects? Any advice, anything that like surprised you or that you could have used somebody telling you early on?
Yeah, two big pieces of advice. So one is never be afraid to ask. Um, how I got my internship was I literally cold emailed like 30 different law firms in my local area. A lot of them didn't respond, but I only needed one to respond and to get that opportunity. So don't be afraid to ask. And the second thing is don't be afraid to bet on yourself. I never thought that I would pursue this project at all. My freshman and sophomore year in high school, I was a super STEM kid, but then I kind of got into humanities and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And I have the opportunity to make an impact in that field. And so I bet on myself to be successful. And I would advise, don't be afraid to do that for yourself as well.
Yes, awesome. I heard a third lesson in there, which is don't be afraid to be passionate about something that's not your intended major, maybe, right? You never know. Might end up with a double major or just, a big passion project. Thank you so much. That's great, Andrew. Much appreciated. And good luck with your project.
Thank you.
All right. William, the floor is yours. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. All right. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Please do.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, and hello to any of our attendees who have popped in recently. Thank you for coming. It's good to have you.
All right. Can you see? Sorry, I believe
Perfect.
I'm on the wrong slide. I'm just going to back that up. I am not. Let's see. There we go. All right. So before we begin, I'm just going to apologize because my voice is having some difficulties. Just got a cold, so I apologize if I'm having some trouble projecting. But I'm William Bradaway. I'm a sophomore in high school in the greater Los Angeles area. And with the help of Maya and Joel, we have started an initiative called Save a Heart. I'll give you a little bit more info as we go, but the baseline is that we are fighting health inequity with affordable care and economic literacy. And here at Save Heart, we believe that prevention starts with access. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here at Save Heart, we identified a certain problem, and that problem is that heart disease is heavily linked to preventable conditions like poor nutrition, poor diets, and especially obesity. And heart disease within the United States kills 1 in 5 people. It's the leading cause of death, and obesity causes 30% of those deaths. And obesity, depending on its severity, can take off 5 to 20 years of someone's life, depending on how long they have it. And heart disease, on average, takes away 7 years of someone's life. So you can see the clear dilemma that we have in this country with heart disease and with obesity. We also identified that for low-income populations, cost is a barrier to care because high-quality nutrition comes at a higher cost, and high-quality exercise comes at a cost with all the various memberships and cost that comes with that. And of course, the most obvious of which, the medication itself comes at a cost. And so here at Save a Heart, we concluded that to address these barriers, we must come up with a way to produce financial aid and educate our clients on how to proceed in the medical realm in the future. So here at Save a Heart, we believe that prevention starts with access. It is our mission to fight health inequity by making medical weight loss solutions and nutritional guidances accessible to all, and by creative, innovative educational programs that demystify healthcare economics and empower communities to build healthier lives. So at Save a Heart, we have come up with 3 different angles of attack and 3 different ways to add to our holistic strategy. The first of which is medical access, the second, economic literacy, and of course, lifestyle support. So I'll give you a little more on each pillar. So the first pillar was medical access. It is our goal to cut the cost for essential medical treatment. So far, we have partnered with California Living Medical Weight Loss, and they have agreed to both waive the consultation fees for our clients and give discounted services. So this means that financial barrier will be partially removed and will make it a lot easier for each donation to have an even wider impact. Pillar 2, economic literacy. We also want to empower our patients to become informed consumers. We plan on implementing our very own economic literacy curriculum, which is called the Take Charge of Your Health, Understanding Healthcare Costs and Access. And we equip our clients to save money system-wide and not just benefit from the financial aid or subsidies, but become more consumed, and hopefully transfer that over to future experiences or their daily lives. And our key lessons are about mastering the negotiated rate, understanding or demanding the good faith estimate, and understanding how deductibles and coinsurance affect the ability to sustain care. Pillar 3, we also want to ensure long-term sustainable health habits. It's one thing to give someone medication and say, go off, have fun, good luck. But we also want to make sure that the effects they get from their medication are sustained throughout the entirety of their lives. Therefore, we partnered with qualified nutritionists and personal trainers with discounted access to create individual and tailored meal plans and safe exercise routines that reinforce both medical treatment and economic incentive for prevention. Our 2025 fundraising goal is 50 lives. To raise the necessary funds to provide 3 months of semaglutide to 50 people, we need a total of $27,500. We arrived at this figure by dividing the cost for 3 months semaglutide treatment, the medication that we will be providing for our patients, by 2, because Mike Bjorkman, the owner of California Living Medical Weight Loss, has agreed to waive 50% of the cost for us. If we multiply that figure of $550 by $50, we get $27,500, which is our fundraising goal by the end of 2025. We are now moving into our first stages of fundraising throughout the next couple weeks. And so we ask you to join the fight. Help us reach 50 hearts. As we progress to the fundraising stages, We ask that you keep up with the progress of our organization and contribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, William. I'll ask you the same question if you don't mind.
Sure.
If there are any lessons you've learned so far in the process that you would pass on to other students starting a community service or a global health project, what would you tell them?
I think the biggest thing is that taking initiative is the best thing you can do, because when you're looking at a big problem like obesity or you're looking at a big thing like heart disease, it's very easy to feel like a sense of overwhelmment and tell yourself that there's no way an initiative started by me, a high school student, can have impact on this matter. Like, I don't even know where to start, right? That's a lot of people's first reaction. I think the best thing you can do is learn a little bit about your problem, but don't overdo it. Just get your head in the game and start garnering some real world experience and just start trying to move things forward. And I think like that's better than like any theoretical knowledge, and also like the best way to advance the project. And so I would just say, just make the first move, set goals for yourself. As far as hitting benchmarks is, tell yourself, okay, by next week I want X, Y, Z done to hold yourself accountable and make sure you're getting stuff done. And I think that's the best way to go about it.
I like that. Okay, so you've got to learn the landscape so you can learn how to take action rather than kind of trying to do everything from the beginning. I agree with that. I think that's great advice. Thank you so much, William. And I hope your project goes really well. Feel free, any links that you want to give us, feel free to throw them in the chat if anybody can use them. Or if you just want to send them to me or Maya so we can include it in the comments to our video whenever we post the recordings, okay? All right.
Sounds good. I'll just drop that in the chat.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Rachel, the floor is yours.
Okay, sounds great. Give me 1 second to share my screen. Okay, I hope you guys can all see this.
Looks great.
Okay, so hi, my name is Rachel, and today I'm going to give you a really quick elevator pitch on my project, which is EconoMe, and also share a bit of our journey with you. So financial literacy, as we all know, is a crucial skill to life. Our modern society not only requires global citizens to understand the broad flow of money, but it requires us to innovate and create with this knowledge. Our existing education systems, however, fail to address this issue properly. Only 2 in 5, 41% of young adult respondents were considered financially literate, according to the Compare the Market and My Bank's financial education measures. Almost 2/3, 61% of young adult respondents did not recall receiving a financial education at school at all. Back in home, Stalker research concludes that the average American parent gives their children 114 pieces of financial advice per year, but teens only listen 54% of the time. This has labeled the world of economics as tedious and adult only. Hi, my name is Rachel Lee, and I'm one of the founders of EconoMe along with Charlotte Bagowi, Haley Locke, and Summer Chen. And today we will share our idea and journey with you. EconoMe is a financial literacy app designed for an immersive and holistic financial education, and designed to reshape the whole image behind the economic world and generate opportunities for all students. So what do you envision the financial world to look like? Is it relevant today? Are you interested in it? These are a few questions that we asked ourselves and 145 students at our school. The answers? Many students recognize the importance of financial literacy, especially in a world of increasing digital banking and wealth inequality. Yet students simply weren't interested. Current systems were unengaging, inconsequential, and simply hard to understand. News was another concerning resource. Rich in information, yet deprived of the balance between big picture perspectives and refined details. As a result, we created EconoMe, a mobile app that teaches kids essential money skills in an engaging way, accessible to all. Our product will have 3 main focuses. Firstly, the learning path will offer a gamified curriculum covering basics such as budgeting, payslips, taxes, and inflation for younger audiences, and going beyond for young adults. It's personalized by age, goals, learning speed, and learning methods with bite-sized interactive lessons like flashcards, quizzes, and AI-generated study notes. To enable economic theories to become practical and shape daily habits, Pocket Decisions is our second tab. A quick survey will check in with the user, with reminders sent daily and a manual log to be available as well. We will keep things visually attractive for users by prediction graphs and encouraging daily usage through streaks. Additionally, users can optionally add their debit cards to track real-life spending via card transactions. Finally, the Profile and Social tab will let users create customizable avatars, connect with friends, share achievements, and join mini challenges. Apps with such features show 35 to 50% higher retention and viral growth. One of the strengths, but also a challenge of our business idea is that it faces the kids' fintech financial education. With key players such as GoHenry, Kidvestors, Greenlight, and Revolut and Zogo. These offer a subscription through prepaid debit cards that our parents control and provide quality content. So how will our app stand out in this competition? There are a few elements in the current kids fintech department that we disagree with, which we will eliminate or reduce in our product. The current market has innovated to create a more kid-friendly UI, but this doesn't change the mindset of children on finance. But targeting their marketing at parents and strict controls have limited enjoyment for children. Although some parental controls are necessary, we believe that students should be empowered to make the choices themselves. The current market also fails to be inclusive with the digital curriculums, with no modes for neurodiversities or different ways of learning to truly personalize a learner's experience, and financial education only available when parents have purchased a complimentary debit card. We plan to change this and deliver qualities and experiences for any and every student to maximize the social value our product aims for. We will create a strong and safe social network for ambitious users to connect and practice the communication skills, a much needed skill set for the adults of tomorrow. We will reach our target market through schools, educations, and youth-led groups through mass subscriptions. Through these core values, we are uplifting the user's learning experiences. Next, we converted our concepts into features for our app. We will leave the debit card feature optional rather than a necessity, and complement overall. Our learning content will highlight every little steps that our users take and ensure stability. Overall, our strategy will let users start anywhere, no card, prior knowledge, or payment required for financial education, making our app as accessible as possible. Moreover, we value constructive feedback, especially when helping users to weigh out the pros and cons of an idea or decision. To let students take more authority on their own learning, their curiosity should be answered sufficiently, without dismissal or too much bias fogging clarity. Therefore, we believe that integrating an AI assistant into our model would achieve this level of customization that a basic algorithm that's a one-size-fits-all simply cannot achieve. To align with our values, we will ensure that our AI is exclusively trained from relevant materials that experts approve of, rather than a general AI like ChatGPT, and ensure that there are no hallucinations. Our monetization model includes two versions of the app, the free and the premium plan. In our free plan, we will include all basic learning content, the social engagement, and a manual expense log in Pocket Decisions. No additional advertisements will be required, as we believe that children's education shouldn't be disrupted. For families who are able to afford a little extra, we offer a upgrade to an AI companion, which gives access to workshops on news, lectures, diagram generation, and lets users add their bank accounts for debit card expenses. This upgrade will create a smoother, more personalized experience. However, our module doesn't restrict any learning content. This is available through both free and premium plan. Thus, we are providing equity when it comes to quality education. We plan to charge £7.99 per month, which is $10.99, and £39.99 per month for a family plan up to 6 users. So that was a quick elevator pitch of our idea. So as entrepreneurs, where are we now? Our concept was formed between the four of us. Summer, Haley, Charlotte, and I created EconoMe together. I believe one important thing about any project is to work with a good team with a united sense of direction. Each of us enjoys different things, but when we came together to create EconoMe, at our school, we had our own struggles in our own personal finances, and we found that many of our peers had a similar problem as we started gaining independence. When our school held their first Dragon's Den pitching competition, we signed up and started planning. At this internal competition, we came first place. But more importantly, we managed to expand our resources and our social network, allowing us to explore our idea further and experiment with preliminary prototypes with the help of Lovable. So here are the pictures that I've displayed. These are all pictures of our prototype. I'm just gonna go off my presentation for a little bit and I'll show you the prototype that we have so far. This was again created with Lovable. So we don't really have like a fancy web designer in our hands. We actually just have the helps of Lovable, which is an AI generative software platform. So we have a login page here. And let me just do the CAPTCHA, which is to make sure that there is no bots trying to sign in into our platform. And this is the three tabs that I've talked about in my pitch. So the learning path is the main essential. We have provided daily streaks and we're going to have our own currency in order to encourage young users to carry on. Our curriculum, which you'll see in a second, is personalized through your age and your goals, which you would have done a survey at the start. And here we have a basic version of what our model will look like. This is again quite conceptual currently, so a lot of the buttons don't really work, but it's a basic idea, like a structure to see where our concepts will fit in as features. And again, you'll have interactive diagrams, quizzes, and we will have our learn different modes. So currently we only have 3, so you can have like a physical learner, so it would give you more games that interact with your learning, or you could be a more visual learner looking through graphs and videos that explain the process. So this is, and it would give you a roadmap of where you are, and you'll be able to unlock different levels. And here in Pocket Decisions, you're able to log your spendings manually. So let's say that I start with £3 and say that, yes, I do get weekly pocket money and I get around £10 per week. And this will help me start track how much that I spend. I can put in an input, so say that, hey, I received £25 for birthday money. And I can add this here and it will change my summary. And I could also say that I spent something. So I say, oh, I spent £10 for entertainment. Let's say that I went to a cricket game or something. Then that will track how much I've spent and how much I've earned and give a future prediction. These are still quite preliminary, so we haven't got to the actual numbers yet, but yeah. And here is our final tab, which is profile and social. So you're able to look at your achievements, custom design your avatar, and challenge friends in mini challenges and say, hey, like, I bet you that I could learn this quicker than you or do something quicker than you. We would also have a leaderboard that you can connect with your school or your peer group, and an avatar shop, being able to shop for accessories. So yeah, this is a quick glimpse of our prototype so far. Back to the slideshow. So as students, we might not have professional resources, but projects like EconoMe, I believe, are great investments for our skills and time as we gain experience and tweak our idea to adopt opportunities. After receiving advice from our first pitching competition, we went to display our project at the virtual club fair last month and came home with the most collaborative prize. As for our ambitions, we are excited to extend EconoMe even further. Our project is far from finished, and over the next 6 months, we hope to refine our basic idea and create an impactful, socially challenging solution. One way we are challenging ourselves to reach our full potential is through competitions. The aim isn't to win anything, it's more so to come out of it knowing more than we did. Surrounding ourselves in a dynamic environment to push innovation. So competitions are really important milestones for us. And after each one, we switch our strategy up and apply different techniques. An important competition that's coming up for us is the Blue Ocean competition coming up in February. This is a worldwide competition held virtually every year with winners from each continent. In April, we are also scheduled to visit London in a London venture capital called First Minute and gain work experience as part of our prize from our school's Dragon Den. So thank you so much for listening. If you could spare 2 minutes of your time by completing our survey here, we would be really grateful. And if you have any inquiries about EconoMe or are interested in joining our team and collaborating, then please contact us at economy.dragons@gmail.com. Thank you.
Amazing. I just scanned it. I'm already seeing I'm in the old people's category. When the ages come up, I'm like, I hope you needed us. This is a really terrific project. I am so impressed. I had seen little bits of it, going through sort of the Lil environment, publicity and things like that. But this is really, really terrific. I'm curious, in your team dynamic, do you have a lot of really hopeful, ambitious people? Is it some of you are very ambitious and hopeful and the others are like, I don't know if we can do it, and you're sort of doing some internal leadership work? How does it work for you? Because a lot of students, they will bring on great people as they find them, but they don't already start out with a strong team. So what is your team dynamic, if you don't mind sharing?
Yes. So, our dynamic is quite funny, I would say. It's really funny because we're all really close friends as well. So we do share a life outside of EconoMe. And I think that just makes everything so much better, because so my friend and I, Summer, we are both really ambitious people. Summer is like hugely goal orientated, but I'm much more process orientated. So if I find the process really satisfactory, then I'll go all heads in. I don't really mind what the goal is. I don't really say that, hey, we have to achieve this by this deadline. Summer's more of the person who's like, hey, we have to do this by this date. And it really, because of that, both of us work to create a structure for the entire group. Along with Haley and Charlotte as well, they're in lead of the prototype. So they're very creative, both of them, and they help us generate different ideas and suggest pivotal points if needed. So as you saw in our presentation, we kind of share a lot of our ideas with the current fintech market. So being able to stand out is a huge thing as entrepreneurs, and being able to say that, hey, this is what makes us unique, and this is why you should buy us instead of everybody else. And doing that basic thing is what Haley and Charlotte are so good at. So yeah, the team dynamic is amazing.
Oh, that's wonderful. I truly see excellent things coming for you all. If there's any links that you want us to have, go ahead and throw them in the chat so people can click on them in case they didn't hit the QR code. Thank you so much for presenting. Have a good rest of your day. I hope the weather there is still pretty good, not too chilly yet. And yeah, we appreciate you very much. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now that the superstars have shown us what they're made of, everybody stuck with me for a bit as I talk about our superstars in general through the Lil program. So Rachel, you're more than welcome to stay on or hop off, totally up to you, but I'm going to take over and start my own PowerPoint. All right, so where were we? Okie doke. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about a fun program that we started at Lil this year that brought us some more fantastic students, like the ones that you were lucky enough to hear from today. So we just started this past summer the NextGen United Nations Leaders Bootcamp. So this was a collaboration between us and Catalyst Advisory Next, which work with the United Nations and companies working towards the SDG Sustainable Development Goals. So this boot camp is designed for ambitious high school students, and it's meant to empower them to build real-world leadership skills while receiving expert mentorship and earning recognition to set them apart in college admissions and beyond. So our next run will be this February. Brief information about what you'll get from the boot camp. So first, master the skills that matter. You'll gain a strong foundation in critical thinking, cost-benefit analysis, and the real-world policymaking process. Ideally, some charisma and communication lessons will have an impact too. You will get some UN-level mentorship. So this is personalized guidance and feedback from top experts. This is your chance to get that kind of information that is very hard to get because these people work very hard doing these UN level projects as their full-time jobs. You will be eligible for a personalized recommendation letter from the chair of the committee that's helping Lil to run this. As well as a certificate signed by an emeritus of the UN World Food Program. And then you can present to a UN panel of experts and ideally be able to get your foot in the door with a remote internship at Catalyst, working on real-world UN projects. So here are some projects at the that we've had before in this past program. So for instance, Money for Good, a UN youth finance challenge, boosting share the meal donations. So for this particular project, the goal was to develop a creative and effective campaign strategy that increases donations to the World Food Program Share the Meal platform, targeting students, parents, and teachers, and building on the success of existing seasonal campaigns. And so this is something that students were encouraged to do, to build off of the infrastructure that already exists in so many places to move along the UN goals. So in teams of 3, they were able to decide, okay, what roles would we have if we were to put together this project? So for instance, perhaps they would split up into research and analysis lead, creative campaign lead, and marketing outreach lead. Now, this is all roles that are suggested by the students themselves for their project. They take us through phase 1, research and analysis. We learn objectives, activities, and deliverables. Most importantly, anytime somebody is investing that kind of time and money and energy, you want to make sure that they're getting exactly what they want out of it. Then they went on to talk about the campaign, breaking that into different strategies and deliverables. Then there's time for presenting and pitching. So same thing, this section is able to be split up. And by presenting these things this way, it means that these experts who are working in the program can jump in and get information that they would see if they themselves were deciding to approve a project. So it's nice that they're also learning in this format. I see a question about whether or not the camp is a good fit for students with certain majors. It's really good for students with any major. It's split up into 2 tracks. So finance and tech and sustainability and geopolitics. So if you want to take a STEM approach, you can. And if you want to take more of a sort of classic humanities approach, you also can. I'm not sure what the cost is. That is a little bit outside of my teaching part of this, but I can find that information for you. I put my email in earlier. I will paste it in again so people can see it. If you have any follow-up questions based on the stuff that I'm talking about today, feel free to email me so I can get you the most accurate information. So once you have your presentation and pitch, you are in a position to then present that project and get live feedback from people who have worked with UN, with the UN and UN-backed companies, okay? So perhaps you are that tech kind of person and you are really interested in finance, you're interested in data. We've had students work on something like a carbon coin initiative. So what their goal was to design and prototype a carbon coin reward system, incentivizing sustainable actions and promoting awareness of a specific goal. It works the exact same way in this track as it does if you were interested in sustainability. You break down your different parts. In this case, it would be research, content, design, prototype, and technical video. One thing that hopefully was clear through the presentations that we saw earlier with students is that there are many different strengths within any given team. So how these roles break up is truly unique for every project. You would do the same thing, go through objectives, activities, deliverables. And now this is just sort of a standardized format. If you are a student who has come in and you have pitching experience, you have experience in depth in whatever the approach is that you're choosing, you can show that off. You aren't limited based on the examples that you get or the framework that's offered to you. This is just to make sure that everybody's got the right stuff to get feedback on. But if you come in and you say, hey, I've worked with a company trying to pursue the SDGs before, like I can give way more information than these objectives. Great, brilliant, bring that energy. So as you go through, the key thing to remember about this, the potentiality of this UN program, is that this doesn't have to be just a project for the camp. We have some students from the last run of the camp who've stayed together to work on the project that they came up with. So one student brought in a great idea, another student loved it, they worked on it with their project, and they're still working on it to this day. So this, if you are interested in international relations or global development, anything that happens, you know, on the scale of trying to make global solutions, scalable solutions, if that interests you, the goal isn't just for you to pretend to do a project at the boot camp. This can be a generative process. You will have time and you will have teammates and you will have our support so that if this turns into something that is a really good fit for you and you can find somebody who wants to work on it with you, then that may very well end up being a pretty important part of another passion project or an extracurricular that you put into your college application. So ultimately, the boot camp is a place to start. If you are able to continue past that, that is the real magic, because you will have made these connections. You will have gotten a little bit of background expertise to make it so that you can excel far quicker and easier than people who aren't quite knowledgeable about what exactly the UN and UN bodies care about when it comes to creating a project. It's not the same as what your average business investor cares about. It's not the same thing that your average teacher cares about. It is a very unique apparatus, and figuring out how to come up with specifically a globally impactful project is exactly what differentiates this from some of our other programs. So another program that we rolled out this year is the Lil Digital Lab. So the purpose of the Lil Digital Lab is to provide a little bit of tech help to our students. So if a student's entire project is the creation of some sort of very complex website or app, that's not necessarily what the digital lab is for. There may still be some assistance that can be provided, but specifically, the digital lab is for students who really just don't necessarily consider themselves the creative type, whether that's technologically or visually creative. So what we have now is we are bringing on students slowly but surely to fill in roles as creators on this team. So what that means is you would get information about a student project that's currently being created in a LIL class somewhere in the LIL ecosystem. And they will ask, can you help me with a logo? I want it to be these colors, but I don't really know what I'm doing. Or can you help me with a website? I really like these 3 websites, but I have no idea how to make my own. And then there are other requests, of course, that you can make. So if, for instance, you are doing something in Python and you really would like to see if there's a way that you can get another student to help before reaching out to a professor or a mentor who's busier or paying for services, you can reach out. We can see if we have anybody on the team who can help and maybe get some recommendations. So the capabilities of the lab will grow as we get more creators. I'm currently helping. We have another student who's a creator, but we are definitely looking into bringing on more people. So if you are interested and you would like to join this team, or if you're here as a current or future LIL student who thinks they might be able to use it, you can find all of this on our LIL website or email me in the email that I gave you in the chat. This is a free service provided to students currently active in a LIL program. So that means this is meant to get you started while you're still in the environment. Now, if a student were to leave and have like a really simple request that was intimately connected to the project that they started with, the lab will consider that. So it is very much a collaborative, sort of cooperative process. No unreasonable demands for creators, and no options to make unreasonable demands for students who are currently in the program. So this is something that we are trying out because we have so many wonderful students who are gifted with creativity and tech and could use somewhere on their college profile, for instance, a way to show that they are actively working in tech and creative work. So this joins our other opportunities like working with the Concord Review as an editorial assistant, or doing specific internships with companies that we have as a way to help each unique group of LIL students show off what they have to offer. So if that sounds like you, if you would like to sort of join in either as a former LIL student or just somebody in the sort of ingenious network and you would like to help out, we would love to have you. Just reach out and let me know. So just as an example of what the lab would provide, I'm going to hop out of here a sec so I can show you. So this is, for instance, the kind of project that you would return if you were a member of the digital lab. So it's not a fully kitted out website. You will be educating people as well as kind of giving them the bare bones, right? You show them something like this, they can put in their own information, for instance, and oftentimes you won't get too much more information from a student. If it's very early in the process, they may not know what's going to be on the website. So you might make something as simple as this. On the other hand, there might be students who are much more active and have a clear vision. So this is a student that we worked with for her anti-period stigma website. And so she had a lot of really clear ideas of what she wanted to do. She had text. So going through and sort of making spots for her to fill out was a bit easier because we had some idea of what she wanted, right? And so these are just a couple of examples for each page, some blank text to fill out, nothing crazy. But for a student who does not consider themselves tech savvy, to even just be able to pull up a few pages really can give somebody faith that their project is possible. when you sit down and you open up Squarespace or something for the first time, if that's not the kind of person that you are, right? If you don't consider yourself very adept in that field, that can be enough to kind of keep you sitting on your heels, right? And so if you're a part of the Lil Digital Lab, our goal is that we can help push each other over that first period of being like, I don't know where to start. Another example of what you might do for someone is come up with a post template for them. So for this student, we came up with a logo and a post template. So now anytime that they post something, all they have to do is type in and they've got a template that they can use whenever they need it. So nothing too crazy. Most of it can be done in just basic things like Canva, Google Sites. So it's a learning experience and sort of a way to contribute to your Ingenious Prep community if you're interested. All right, so I think the moment that many of you have been waiting for is nearly due, and that is the Lil Venture Fund award ceremony. So we're running just a little bit early. We're a little bit like maybe 10 minutes early because we had a presenter who was unable to make it today. So if you know somebody who is planning on coming at exactly that right time, you'll just have to let them know. The video will be there, the recording, and we can catch them up. But quick statistics on our funding cycle this time for the Lil Venture Fund and the IdeAction pitch competition. This was the 5th run of the competition. And winners of the IdeAction pitch competition are the people who get funding from the Lil Venture Fund. This is our 6th funding cycle in total. So all applications are reviewed holistically and separately by 2 limited partners who evaluate each application independently. Consensus on funding decision and amount is then reached among the limited partners. So general partner, this is Maya, reviews all recommendations by the limited partners students to determine final funding decisions and amounts. So the first award we'll announce is Aurora Huang's Psych Patch, which was awarded $400. Psych Patch is an interactive mental health visual novel designed to make psychological education more human and emotionally resonant. Players step into the role of a school counselor guiding students through challenges such as perfectionism, OCD, bipolar disorder, avoidant attachment, and emotional masking. The goal is to help teens understand themselves better while giving parents and educators a way to recognize early signs of distress and respond with empathy. Traditional resources often feel clinical or detached, so Psych Patch combines narrative storytelling with evidence-based insight to bridge that gap. Since its launch, the game has reached 329 downloads and currently exists in both a digital version and a booklet adaptation, making it accessible for classrooms and families. By combining emotional storytelling with psychology-based learning, Psych Patch invites players to experience mental health not as a diagnosis, but as an inner world that can be understood and healed through awareness, empathy, and better communication. So this is sort of a very sophisticated approach to, if anybody's seen that movie Inside Out, that's what this project makes me think of, a very sort of intellectual approach to creating a visual for that inner world. So thank you, Aurora. Then we have Daniel Zhang, who created CellQuest. CellQuest is a youth-led STEM education project that turns complex biology into fun, hands-on card games for students in grades 3 through 6. All of the card games are aligned with NGSS standards, games, so teachers can use it directly in class. So this project was awarded $700. It's very, very promising. It's very scalable, and hopefully you'll be hearing more about it soon. Dora's project often focuses on empowering women in Ghana and China through helping them in improving better menstruation experiences. They work with all kinds of age groups from 11 to 50 years old in all genders, because they believe, though it is a woman's experience, it is important to remove societal taboos. So they have hosted 8 educational workshops containing over 800 attendees, hosted reusable pad workshops containing over 200 attendees, and they've sent over 500 menstrual cups to be used in university research in Ghana. They've raised funding over $3,000 and are continuing their expansion with 3 NGOs coming up. So this project is going very well. Thank you, Dora. And the award amount is $500. Libertimber is a creation that has been awarded $500. So this is an international student-led music collective, which is very unique for us in Beijing, that connects young musicians across schools through collaborative concerts and shared passion for music. At its core, Libertimber build both a stage for student voices and a community where music sparks genuine friendship and collaboration. They organize concerts that unite student bands, soloists, and audience from international schools across Beijing, events that double as both performances and social gatherings. Musicians gain a platform to showcase their talent, while audiences experience music alongside peers in a space that encourages conversation and connection. So thank you, Haran. Now, Nancy's Swap Card was awarded $500. Swap Card is a startup designed to create a dedicated platform for users to trade gift cards of similar value. Their mission is to make gift cards more versatile and reduce wasted value. If someone receives a gift card that doesn't match their preferences, for example, a McDonald's gift card when they're trying to eat healthier, they can easily trade it for one that better suits their needs, such as a Sweet Greens gift card. This concept is unique and has not yet been implemented before. Very, very cool project. Thank you, Nancy. And then EconoMe is actually what we heard about today from Rachel. I won't add any more because she already did such a good job of explaining it. We've awarded EconoMe $600. And then Peer Prism. This is an online platform and network for students across the globe to find support in education through free tutoring, resources, and student-based news. So it was awarded $300. With the recent explosion of innovation and technology, their purpose is to create a space that connects students across the globe with one another to advance education and learning as a community. They have yet to launch, but they've already gathered over 10 tutors for the website, had a preliminary market test within their school community, gathered advice from hundreds of students, and saw demonstrated interest. They've been hosting mini events in the meantime, where they go around to communities and give small presentations about learning strategies, the psychology of education, stress, time management, and more. Bright Beats by Ryan Chute was awarded $700. It's a youth-led 501c3 nonprofit where they work to bring the joy and healing power of music to all children, especially children with developmental and learning challenges. All of their music programs are provided free of charge in service of that mission. Brightbeat started with Ryan supporting his younger brother who has developmental delays to engage and communicate with others. When Ryan saw how music helped him connect and learn in ways therapy alone could not, he wanted to provide other children that same opportunity. He began leading inclusive and interactive music sessions that combine sing-alongs, rhythm games, and guided instrument play to build communication, attention, and confidence. 30-Day Me was designed by 2 of our students. We awarded it $400. It's an app designed to transform vague New Year's resolutions into achievable goals through structured 30-day challenges. We all need that. I don't think I'm just speaking for myself here. Recognizing that 92% of New Year's resolutions fail due to lack of concrete action plans, their app addresses this by breaking down big goals into clear daily actions over a manageable 30-day time frame. The app combines AI-generated personal challenges with comprehensive progress tracking tools, including calendar checkoffs, photo and video uploads, and journaling features for reflections and to-dos. ClimateX was awarded $400. It's the solution that uses tailored models to address climate by providing reports to energy providers, insurance companies, and even state entities. So over the past 8 months, Tianle conducted extensive research focusing on Texas, designing large-scale data pipelines, and developed high-performance models for long-term projection. One of the flagship contributions, the hybrid Surima XG Boost model, reached 80 to 90% tolerance accuracy, predicting both generation and consumption trends from 11 meteorological variables. Additionally, he designed a tailored modeling pipeline for probabilistic projection of outages, culminating in a 1,000-trial Monte Carlo simulation of economic losses. ClimateX ensures the generalizability of all of their methodologies to scale nationally and globally. So you will definitely be hearing more about this project. So congratulations to all of our awardees. You will receive information on funds disbursement and monitoring procedures shortly. That will be coming your way either through me or Maya. And I do also want to welcome in our newest limited partners, which are Lucas, Victoria, Pierce, Terrence, Juliana, James, and Claire. We are so happy to have you. And thank you so much for lending your expertise, your keen eye and ethics to us to fill this position. Another special thanks to our outgoing limited partners who have already contributed all of their best work to us. So Grant, Jamie, Ashil, Grace, John, Leo, Chloe, and Chloe too. Imran and Annabelle, thank you so much for everything you've done. We appreciate you very much. Okay, that is the bulk of what we're doing today. Paige, I do see that you were able to make it here. Did you want to present, or were you just coming in to catch the awards?
I can present if you just like.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you present.
Yeah, that's great.
Your volume's a little low, just to let you know, okay?
Oh, okay.
And you're welcome to share your screen and start chatting whenever you like.
I'll share my screen now. Oh. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Paige Pan. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I have a project called Grassroots Texas, which basically helps refugees in the Houston area. Okay, so here's our vision. Basically like a summary of it is that what we're trying to do is make sure refugees have the support they need to build stable, independent lives. This means helping with essentials, things like education, resources, and getting like connected with their new communities. We're not just like focused on short-term aid though. The idea is to help people become self-sufficient and to feel confident and capable in their new environment. And in order for us to meet this goal, we have to expand our team so we can organize more donation drives, fundraisers, and other partnerships. And I'll get into like volunteering later. Okay, so our mission. The aim of this nonprofit is to tackle two main problems in public perception of refugees. Number one would be awareness, and the second would be understanding. So a lot of people know that refugees exist, but not many people actually understand why people are forced to leave their homes. We want to change this by looking deeper, like into the root problem at things like failed policies, conflict, and economic situations that push people to migrate in the first place. The goal isn't just to get sympathy or donations like in the short term. It's to help people really understand what's happening so we can push for long-term solutions and smarter advocacy instead of short-term fixes. We want to, so basically like we want to shift the conversation from how can we help right now to how can we make sure this doesn't keep happening. So our capabilities. So when we talk about our organization's capabilities, we're basically talking about how we put our mission into action, what we do to actually make a difference day to day. So we do this in two ways, community education and starting essentials. Okay, so let's start with community education. This part is really about helping students and families adjust to life in Houston. A lot of refugee students come in like with gaps in their education because of everything they've been through. And some have missed, like I know some like refugees that have missed years of school or they're learning in a completely new language. So this is like where our volunteers step in. They help with core subjects like math and reading, but they also do a lot of language support, things like conversational practice or like helping students get comfortable speaking language in everyday settings. So the language support our volunteers provide has a ripple effect. So when students feel more confident communicating in English, they start participating more in class, outside of school, and like in clubs they join. It's one of those like things that ends up making a huge difference in how people integrate and like how they feel like they belong. Second is starting essentials. So this is about helping families get settled and stable when they first arrive. We partner with local organizations to connect people with housing assistance, healthcare, and job training programs. I'll get into like those partnerships in the next slide. But an example of this would be like some families might arrive with no clear path to employment or they're unsure how to access medical care. So through these partnerships, we help bridge that gap so they're not left figuring it out alone. So the goal here is to make sure people have like a foundation they need to become self-sufficient. Once basic needs like housing, health, and income are stable, people can focus on bigger goals, things like education, career growth, and community involvement. So overall, these two programs work hand in hand. Education helps build competence and skills, while essentials provide the stability people need to actually use these skills. Furthermore, like it's not mentioned on the slide, but Grassroots posts weekly blogs dedicated to informing the general public about recent events and overviews of problems refugees face in the US. So like on our website, we have a section for blogs and for like recent news we update weekly. If you can recall the mission statement from the previous slide, this is one way we tackle public perception and opinion. So if anyone is interested in volunteer opportunities, you also have the option to write short blogs for our website. Okay. So these were the two partners I was talking about. First is Interfaith Ministries and second is Houston Welcome Refugees. They're both in the Houston area. And like a lot of like our nonprofit success, it comes from working with other organizations that have already like built a strong community and like networks in the refugees community. So unfortunately a big problem we face like working with these two organizations are that like the refugee services offered have been significantly reduced because of like funding cuts and like recent federal policy changes. However, like both nonprofits have stated they will continue with refugee services just with a smaller staff. Okay. So here are like the contacts. The first would be the website grassrootstx.com. You're able to see like the blogs and the news articles we've posted. If you have like questions about like volunteer opportunities, you can email me directly or scan the QR code or we have a sign up sheet. So does anyone have any questions?
Yes, please feel free to leave them in the Q&A. I also told them, Paige, if they had any questions about presentations to email me. So if I get some for you, I'll pass them on your way, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The one thing I asked all of our presenters today was if they could impart some advice onto other students pursuing new projects. What would you tell them?
I'd say probably like build like a strong community or like get into the community around you. Like for example, I've been doing a lot of work like in my school with my club. So I'd say like start like building strong like relationships with the people around you so they can support you.
Excellent. Yes, that fits our ongoing theme. Finding community, finding community, finding friendship, finding all the different skill sets and the people around you and the issues and the people around you. So that very much fits in with the great advice we got today. Thank you so much, Paige. Your project is very cool, and I hope that you will keep us updated.
I will. Thanks.
All right, wonderful. To all of our panelists and attendees, thank you very much. It was inspiring to hear about everything. We want to know more at Lil and your attendees, I'm sure as well. So anytime you have good news to share, pass it on to myself or Maya so we can pass it on for you, okay? Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Goodbye.